Hello everyone, the theme of our today's lesson is the 175th anniversary of the great Kazakh thinker and poet Abai Kunanbayev. And the aims of our today's lesson are to speak about the most outstanding poet Abai Kunanbayev, his life, his social life, and about his family, to enrich the knowledge with new words, to improve pronunciation, and to develop oral speech, to bring up students' interest in to widen their scope, to help them to love and respect foreign languages, and to form high patriotic consciousness and pride in students' homeland, Kazakhstan. Abai Kunanbayev was born in 1845 in Semipalatinsk region. He was the son of Kunanbay and Uljan, his father's second wife. His true name is Ibrahim, but the nickname Abai in Kazakh Abai means attentive and cautious, given by his grandmother Zire, has been attached to him for their entire life. He was a well-known Kazakh poet, a great thinker, composer, philosopher, the founder of written Kazakh literature and its first classic. His poems and words of edification reflect the lifestyle of the Kazakhs, being, worldview, character, soul, religion, and mentality. The heritage he left his nation is rich in songs and poems, translations and prose. His translations of the poetry written by Russian writers and poets such as Pushkin, Lermontov, and Krylov became the national patrimony of Kazakhstan. Kara Kuzder, Book of Words, is a prose created by the great thinker, constitute an ethnic philosophical work. This creation of his is an exploration of Kazakh national life in the second half of the 19th century. He influenced social affairs in the country where he lived. He also participated in the governing of the country and played a central role in trying to solve complicated problems justly. 45 Words of Edification is a philosophical reflection of the poet about the life, problems, and deeply sad face-to-face conversation with his audience. Many lines from the book of words became immortal. Man born crying and grieves when he lives. Man becomes intellectual, remembering the words of the wisest. He who seeks praise from loved ones, I'm sure he will achieve it, praising and lifting up himself to heaven. Scientists and philosophers are the pride of humanity. They are those who have more senses and minds. We do not invent science. It appears as a result of our feelings, observation, thoughts about the creation around us and the organized world for us. In his didactic poems, Abai takes on the role of teacher of life who explains to his listener or reader the rules of which principle they are to follow and which to avoid. The generalizations of these poems appear quite authoritative. However, the arguments expressed to the listener reader are not normative in the conventional sense, verbalizing officially sanctioned rules for life. Rather, they are derived from what Abai himself learned in life. No matter how he is prized, everything fits. His instructive life and true creativity are a role model not only for the Kazakh people but also for the whole world. Abai's ideas about man and society, education and science, religion and traditions, nature and the environment, state and government, language and communication have not lost their significance for centuries, because the poet's legacy, the spiritual food of all mankind. As you know, the image of Abai was highly appreciated as an artistic image in world literature thanks to the novel by Mukhtar Awazov, The Way of Abai. But this is only one of the aspects of knowing him. To know the real Abai, the poet, it's necessary to reveal the meaning of the ideas expressed in his poems and prose. The name of Abai is known worldwide, just as Shakespeare and Pushkin are well known in many countries because his great works became a spiritual patrimony of not only one nation but of the entire humankind. The poet urged people to master different types of art. He clearly knew that all this was a matter of time and spoke in advance about this with the nation. Even the idea of forming an intellectual nation, which we are talking about today, can be considered as being initiated by him. The great thinker sought in every word to develop a nation. And therefore, it's important for us to pay special attention to the deep study of Abai. To know him is to know oneself. Self-knowledge and continuous self-development of a person, giving priority to science and education, are an expression of perfection. Is the intellectual nation, and in this regard, Abai's words should become the guiding force of the generation. Abai called for raising every Kazakh child as a patriot of the country he is. Legacy is the school-wise patriotism, the foundation of reverence for the country. Therefore, if we want our citizens to be educated, we should not get tired of reading Abai and memorizing his poems. Abai is a thinker who raised the national philosophy to new heights. He reflected on the problem of the human being, developed the doctrine of moral qualities. He puts forward humanistic principles of moral perfection, believes that without the spiritual growth of the person, any activity in this world loses its meaning. The poet philosopher studies and aesthetic problems closely intertwined with ethical, considerate questions of cognitive abilities of the person and their features in the Kazakh national image of the world. Man must find his place, find himself, and be himself. And Abai's main contribution to Kazakh culture lies in his poetry, which expresses great nationalism and grew out of Kazakh folk culture. We need to learn to love the country and the nation as he did. Although the great poet sharply criticized the flaws of the nation, he had only one thought: to raise Kazakhs, his people. And the rich heritage of Bai served the formation of a new quality of the Kazakh nation. Reflections in his works instill in every person a sense of patriotism in relation to his people, country, and land. Thinker Abai for almost 2 centuries is admired by different generations of people with the depth of his thoughts and the brightness of the language. And today his works inspire people to support the desire for education, knowledge, and the development of nations through culture. I have prepared questions for you. What is Abai Kunanbayev famous for? When was he born? What was his real name? Who were his parents? What poems written by Abai do you know? What impression did the Russian writers make on him? What makes Abai so very much popular with people all over the world? As you can see, it's not a kind of test. You should write your own answers here, and later let's watch a video. And to conclude our theme, I want to give you a home task. You have to retell one of Abai Kunanbayev's poem. And for today, that is all. Thank you for your participation. Goodbye.